MSDNC.
Thank you very much.
He's already going after the media.
Like the only guy I've ever seen, he really looks forward to it, and then he just goes and absolutely obliterates them. Say a couple of words.
This man is a closeted gay. You cannot tell me he's not.
He's got he's got the darkest beard.
They're chanting for him.
The darkest beard possible. The darkest acceptable beard possible. She's in his fine.
I thank you for the trust that you placed in me.
The main man have the job, man. You don't upstage the main man.
In the glory of being reelected.
Yeah. Let Don Eladio have the show.
About as good as it gets. And we love the family, and we're going to have a great 4 years, and we're going to turn our country around, make it something very special. It lost that little thing called special. We have to make it so. We're going to make this so great. It's the greatest country and potentially the greatest.
You know, I need to find a way to get a hold of Trump and see if I can't petition him to pardon Adam Fox and Barry Croft.
Wait longer. I don't know. It was going bad.
Hey, he got a pardon old boy from New York too that was making the guns.
And we're going to have to let people come into our country.
You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't. Right offhand.
Guy was in like New York State, and I guess he made his own guns, like engineered them or whatever.
Let me also express
he's like a smith like by hobby, and he decided to make his own firearms, and then like they were charging with all kinds of freaking deals. He's in Rikers right now.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, the New York State guy. Gokhan Gun.
Were those federal charges?
Probably brought on by the ATF.
Yeah, I think it was state. I think it was state.
If they're state charges, Trump can't help it.
She's not in the background.
Maybe he can pull some strings behind the scenes.
This wasn't expected, but I just want to thank, obviously, President Trump.
Because like he can pardon like old boy
hell of a candidate
from New York, and old boy from New York can pardon him.
I was going to say, didn't he pardon Kodak Black, and wasn't he in? He was on state charges, wasn't he, or what was he in on a RICO?
I think Kodak was on some federal shit, man.
Yeah, and Dexter Taylor.
How many panels? Little time.
Residency requirements if you need to speak the language. I wouldn't think so if you're able to like travel and live through the EU, but I don't know. I don't think with my Polish citizenship I would need to speak Polish or read Polish. I have no idea. I need to check it out though, because I want to be that person that can just go to Europe for like an entire summer and live there and not need a visa. And I can work remotely. Oh my God, that would be fantastic. But no, I wouldn't just want to live there in summer. I would want to live there all the time. Yeah. And someone was calling me anti-American earlier. I'm not necessarily anti-American, but I just think I'm not meant to be American. Although, don't get me wrong, I'm lucky to have my freedom and shit, but yeah, I would rather be trotting around in like Germany or something. I don't know. They don't put up with shit in Germany, you guys. Fuck. Europe is so weird though. Oh, I would, someone make it happen. Snap their fingers. I'm there. Oh, is Paul still here? We're talking about omelets. Paul does not like eggs. Reminder, Paul does not like eggs. Ooh, I could change my avatar now since election Tuesday is over. What do I want to be today?
Please, for the love of God, I'm crossing.
Why is he describing a fucking rocket ship? Like,
well,
what is
because
going on, dude?
I'm hoping that he's just stalling. I have all of my fingers crossed that Elon Musk is here. That would be the most.
it was over, it was going to smash. And then I saw the fire pour out from the left side, and I put it straight, and it came down so gently, and then it wrapped those arms around it, and it held it. And just like you hold
The
your baby,
51st state is going to be Mars.
and it was a beautiful thing to see. And I called Elon. I said, Elon, was that you? He said, yes, it was. I said, who else can do that? Can Russia do it? No. Can China do it? No. Can the United States do it other than you? No. Nobody can do that. I said, that's why I love you, Elon. That's great. And you know, when we had
that sounded really gay. You should have paused there.
Hurricane Helene, and it hit.
That's why I love you, Elon. Pause, no diddy.
Oh, yo, the Starlink shit, man. That's gonna be crazy. Cause like they spent $42 million, man, on that rural internet thing, and nobody got hooked up.
People from North Carolina came to me and they said, "Would it be possible?"
Rural internet.
Possible.
Yeah, you don't remember that?
Good. This is good news for you, Snowman.
I said, "What's
It's Starlink in the United States government. We're all gonna have great high speed.
And it was very dangerous.
I already do, man. I got fiber.
I called Elon Musk. I said, Elon.
Yeah, but
that's why my problems can't be with the internet.
We're gonna have Tesla robots.
What would you say, Snowman?
Last I heard that conception ended up getting scrapped.
Oh,
I wonder why.
I think it had to do with zoning and funding.
Oh, he's on the way.
Oh, if you had to said environmental, I'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Great U.S. Open, Bryson. That's a fantastic job. And we also have a man, Dana White, who has done some job. He's a tough guy.
Yo,
we got that.
Dana just recently did an interview with Dr. Phil. I watched about 8 minutes of it, man. It's pretty good thus far. I mean, really good.
Came to me, do you mind if I use your? Nobody wanted to give him a rinse because they said it's a rough
Snowman, do
sport,
you
it's
know
rough.
Dr. Darko?
And I helped him out a little bit, and I went.
That's Dr. Dickhead. He's liberal. He can come hop up.
But I began to like it, and he loved it, and nobody's done.
How's it going, Dr. Darko?
Sports.
Pretty right about yourself.
He's a very motivational kind of a guy. What he does.
What's up, Dr. Dickhead?
Yo,
they really go
how's
at
it going?
It's
How's it
become one of the
going?
most successful sports
Came to be a smug asshole,
anywhere,
which is
anytime.
gonna be harder now.
Well, I'd like to ask Dana just to say a couple of
Hold
words
on,
because people
I
love
can't
to
hear you.
from him.
Hey, pause this for a minute, Cyber. I want to hear what he's at. What'd you say, bud?
Oh yeah, I came here to be a smug asshole, which is gonna be a challenge now.
Have fun.
Right.
You can be a smug asshole. We don't mind. We're used to it.
Applause to you for coming anyway.
Right.
There's some brazen balls.
You know, it's the
Hey,
same
I'll
map
be
as
honest,
Hillary.
I'm
I just hate
not
women.
just
I get it.
I'm just as shocked as everyone else that he actually.
Same.
I mean, it's basically the same map as the 2016 election, so it makes sense. Makes sense if we just hate women. You know.
What?
Well, I mean, if we didn't have the 19th Amendment and women didn't vote, Republicans would have won every single election in the past 100 years.
Listen, we could.
Why does it have to be? Why does it have to be hate?
Well, I mean, because they lost, so they suck. So I hate them, obviously.
Okay, base.
I'm a simple man, all
I'll
right.
accept that. Sometimes there's beauty in simplicity.
Right.
Sure is.
I mean, listen, I've learned my lesson. Not running any more women. That's just straight middle-aged white dudes from here on out.
Yeah, man.
Hey,
you guys should have had the straight white man, Gavin Newsom.
Right, dude. Biden could have won.
Just walk up. Hey, look, if you learn how to just walk up and grab them by their pussy, everything will be all right.
You know.
I don't know, man. Like Biden, it'd probably been worse for Biden At least with
Biden's problem is when he's grabbing the pussy, he's sniffing the children.
Yeah, Biden would have had a whole lot. It would have been a total landslide if they were running Biden.
Yeah,
Gavin Newsom, even Gretchen Whitmer. I'm pretty sure Gretchen Whitmer is trans, by the way. I don't think she's an actual woman. But
man.
Gretchen Whitmer, she would have had a better chance.
Dude, she looks like a botched trans job. To be honest with you,
she looks like a more masculine Michael Jackson.
That's fucked up.
She got the like leather face skin kind of thing.
And did you see her giving the holy sacrament to some bitch on her knees?
Yeah, man, that's so stupid, man.
Hey, I love my governor, and all y'all can.
Kamala got on her knees.
No. It was one of her interns or something like that.
Yeah. And then she had a beer with Kamala Harris. Like, oh, haha, we're middle class. We're drinking beer together.
Yeah, they actually did that in my town, which is just cute.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? Oh, so you're in Michigan?
Yeah. I live.
Nice.
Yeah. I live near Pfizer's global supply facility, or global manufacturing facility, whatever the fuck it's called.
Oh, interesting. Are you familiar with the whole Goshen and Green Township controversy?
What, Goshen, Indiana, where all the Mexicans are?
No, Goshen, Michigan.
Oh,
well, it's Green Township, Michigan, where Goshen, the Chinese company, was trying to create a battery plant, lithium plant, in a Michigan town, and the Michigan Township was like, "Fuck no!" They voted out all of their Republican city council, changed the locks on the doors of the city townhouse. Yet,
that's
Gretchen Whitmer government. Yeah, I know it's crazy. They voted out all their local representatives, replaced them all with independent candidates. Yet the Gretchen Whitmer government said, no, actually, China does have the right to build this plant in your backyard.
Yeah, she also thought that her husband had the right to go fish on Lake Michigan when everyone else was told they couldn't.
Yeah. And of course, 13 out of the 15 kidnapped people turned out to be FBI agents.
Which is crazy, man.
Yeah, dude. Hey, try being one of the guys that they come knocked on the door and asked about that shit. That's all I got to say. That's a really surreal thing when it happens.
Well, I mean, who would want to kidnap her? She sounds like a horrible kidnap victim.
Dude, I bet she doesn't even give head as good as Kamala does.
No, she doesn't give head.
No, she makes her husband give her head.
Well, Kamala's
very normal arguments.
Listen, let's hear what Trump is saying right now.
Yeah,
Kamala's own husband. He said this in front of thousands of people. He said, Kamala did what she does best: put her head down and got to work.
That's fucking hilarious.
He said it, not me.
Old Dougie.
Skip ahead. I mean, he's not really saying shit.
How happy do you think Doug is that he doesn't have to be the first gentleman now?
Dude, no, he wanted to be the first gentleman. He's slapping the shit out of Kamala right now. He's fucking her brains out. He's like, you stupid bitch. I wanted to be the first gentleman. Anyway, take this fucking wine glass. Kamala's drunk off wine right now. That's why her campaign isn't replying to anybody.
You know, I've been reading these things called the Eastman memos, and I think actually the Dems have a path to winning.
And what's that?
Oh,
I don't know. There's someone who's supposed to like certify the election.
Are they gonna take votes away from Trump?
Or I mean, you know, I don't know if there's like conflicting sets of elector votes.
Talking about. That's actually what. Yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about.
Yeah, I thought
they're
that's
going to
insurrection.
create a new. Are you
talking about
who cares whether it's insurrection or not? If they bring a new slate of electors, who does that go to? It goes to Congress and then the Supreme Court. and forgive me if I'm wrong, but Republicans have the Congress and the Supreme Court right now.
Wait,
that's a
what?
bad day for them.
It doesn't go to the Supreme Court. What? That doesn't make any sense. Why would the?
Isn't that what happened with Gore?
Well,
Gore and
Well,
Bush?
that's what happened in Georgia.
I thought that's what happened in Florida too with Gore and Bush. Is it what ended up going to the Supreme Court?
No, I mean that wasn't like an issue over the like slate of electors. Like that was a lawsuit to demand a recount, which was denied based on the risk of not meeting the safe harbor deadline.
Yeah, we're talking about federal slates of electors.
Yeah,
So what's this Easton memo you're talking about?
Yeah. So like hypothetically, if you were to like forge 7 slates of electors and act like that they're real and convince the vice president to say that there's confusion about which ones are legitimate or not. That could you could just like pick and choose which ones you wanted to count.
But who's the person like in 2020? Mike Pence stood in front of who and was supposed to register the slate of electors. It was in front of the Senate. It was in front of the House of Congress. So, how is she going to register this newly formed slate of electors?
What do you mean? She presides over the thing. If she gets 2 like sets of electors, like she can just pick whichever one she wants, I guess.
Okay, but the buck doesn't stop with her.
Oh no, hold on. Isn't that the issue that everybody had with Trump in 2020 though? That they were saying,
we're past that, dude. We already know. But what he's saying is they can do the same thing, and it's not going to be that big of a deal. What I'm saying is, how are they going to get that past the House?
No, I want to know why it's not going to be a big deal. I mean, let me ask you something, a real question. Being that you're obviously, on the left, a liberal, a Democrat, whatever you want to label yourself, obviously you lean more left, right?
Yeah.
How can you morally justify saying that you want to impeach and prevent another person from doing something that you now want to do yourself?
Oh, because I have to go through like ketosis because I'm dying from irony poisoning. So it's just kind of funny to me.
That was actually good fun.
Yeah, I mean, from his point, it's eye for an eye.
I mean, listen.
Well, then I guess Trump can eye for an eye and start going after his political opponents with the Department of Justice and start arresting people that wanted to arrest him.
Oh yeah, I mean, I love locking up my political opponents and locking up people who say stuff that I don't like and opening up libel laws.
I've seen Republicans get locked up.
Well, Trump has not done any of that, but we do have record of who has done that, tried to lock up their political opponents.
Yeah.
Now, you can say that he wants to, you can say that he's going to, but you can't prove intent and you can't prove the future.
So we can prove intent, right?
Record. Not unless
it's we can prove intent because Trump ran on lock her up, but he never actually locked her up.
And he never did.
Sure,
but
did he try to?
We do have a record of.
No, he didn't try to. He didn't do anything to try to lock Hillary up when he was in office.
It's not actually. You're right. Actually, when he went to his that ball that he was at, he actually recognized her, said that she was a wonderful woman, gave her accolades and her flowers and all that shit.
I mean, he was probably just joking when he said that.
No, he was dead
serious. No. This is inside baseball, but Hillary Clinton called Trump on the night of the election and said,
"Here we go again, man.
I concede."
Will you wait a minute? He wasn't being facetious and anything like that. It wasn't a joke. You realize that Trump actually helped fund Hillary's Senate runs, her husband's fucking presidential runs. He's been helping fund the Clinton. He was a donor to the Clinton Foundation for I don't know how many years.
Yeah, he also donated to Kamala, didn't he?
I don't know about Kamala.
He did.
Wait,
it was like Trump
Kamala?
donated a couple $1,000.
Trump stock?
No. Like Trump directly contributed like a couple grand to Kamala's attorney general run in California.
I could see him doing that.
Yeah, it was like a decade or two ago. Yeah.
I mean, before Trump decided to run on the Republican ticket, he was a pretty staunch card-carrying Democrat.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Harris was running for DA in what, like 2009?
Yeah, something like that.
Was that
There's been
before
a
or
lot
after
of people.
Montel?
It was before what? Snowman?
I said, was that before or after Montel, or before or after Willie?
Well, that was during Willie, after Montel. Willie had the entire Democratic stranglehold in the San Francisco area. That's why he was propping up Kamala. So Trump probably had the pocket to donate to whatever, you know, the Democrats were pushing in that area at the time.
Interesting. I'm just interested to see how this is all going to end up unfolding as the days go on.
Right.
But yeah, I'm sure Kamala did get a couple Trump bucks. She also got way more Soros bucks.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you just said a dirty word, man.
Yeah, that'll get you banned on here, dog. You're just throwing this dude's channel out in the.
Emperor.
What?
Don't talk-
Soros? He's
Don't-
dying.
don't-
It's more about his son right now. I mean, George is on the.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like when we say Soros, we're just talking about like them, right?
Ballsack guy.
Yeah, Alexander's running the show right now.
For sure. Still Soros.
Yeah, the United Nations, the WHO, the NIH, WEF, all of those.
But yeah,
creatures.
Trump's a businessman. He's a dirty guy. I mean, when he was running, even when he was running in 2016, he was like, I donated to everyone on the stage right here. And he was talking to Rand Paul. He was talking to Ted Cruz. He was talking to Rubio. That's what billionaires do. I mean, look at fucking Mark Cuban.
Wait, he's a dog shit businessman though, right? Right.
I find it really hard to believe that.
Well, I guess it depends on what you consider. I mean, you got hold on. Let me finish what I'm saying before you interrupt, Red, please. A lot of people want to sit and try and throw his bankruptcies in and as a reason to say that his business savvy isn't there, but they think that they're going under the premise that he filed Chapter 7 bankruptcy, which he didn't. What he did was file Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which is specifically for businesses. That way you don't lose your ass.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
if you look at
how does a casino go bankrupt for one, and for two, I'm more so talking about his court case in New York where he's not allowed to like run a business there anymore for what was that, fraud?
Actually,
did you know that was overturned?
Well, casinos go bankrupt all the time. You should look into it.
Did you know that was overturned in appeals?
Yeah, all those court cases in New York were overturned in appeals court.
Well, not all of them. The Jeannie Carroll one was not.
Yeah, they actually were, and the appeals judges actually said that the New York Attorney General should be.
Wait, so do you think Donald Trump actually assaulted E. Jean Carroll?
I mean, maybe, probably. I mean, whatever. He was found civilly liable in a court, so
I think
probably.
Joe Biden actually assaulted Tara Reid.
I mean, that's fine.
I think Joe Biden actually assaulted Tara Reid.
Wait.
He grabbed her by
that wasn't what I asked you. I asked you, do you really think Donald Trump assaulted E. Jean Carroll?
I mean, he was found civilly liable in front of a jury, so like, I mean,
saying.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean towards yes on that one.
That wasn't my question.
Or,
okay,
I lean towards yes. Sorry.
For example,
I'm leaning towards yes because he was found guilty.
Okay, so you lean towards yes because a civil court
found him liable.
Found them liable, but we can go to civil courts. Okay, well, civil courts didn't find the opium pharma lobby liable at the time, even though we all know the opioid epidemic, they were obviously taking advantage of Americans. So just because a civil court case and a jury says one thing, I'm asking you, do you think Donald Trump assaulted E. Jean Carroll?
I mean, probably, because he was found civilly liable. in front of a
What?
jury, and I have faith in our justice
it does,
system.
I'm not. It doesn't. It doesn't matter about the quote unquote justice system. I'm talking about what you think based on the evidence of that case.
Yeah, sorry. So I have like faith in America and our institutions and our systems and like our mode of government. So yeah, like I'm going to tend to side
Really?
with
Really?
it. Yeah, yeah. I don't hate my fucking country. I'm not a traitorous fuck, treasonous asshole.
Well, you don't. You don't. Just because you don't trust the legal system as it exists doesn't mean you hate your country. You just understand that there's elements of corruption, like
Does that
for
mean you
example,
think all black
big
people
pharma.
hold on, does that mean you think all black people hate the country since they don't trust generally the legal system?
I don't know, or that's not true. Like
That
most
is very true.
would
No, well, that's
bro,
following
black
your
people,
logic because
black
you
people disproportionately love the police. I don't know what
what?
you're talking about.
What? I don't know what hood you grew up in.
It's one called Google Scholar. But yeah, I mean, you can look up the polling data on it. Like, black people live where there's a lot of crime,
Google
so
Scholar,
they
that
and they
must be
don't like
true.
getting murdered or like, you know, getting their shit stolen.
Well,
So yeah,
don't-
they
but
tend to like
Yeah,
cops
well,
more
they
than
also
most.
don't trust the Justice Department.
Do you
I
have
think the
data to
summer
show
of
that?
2020 would disagree.
So
Yeah,
okay,
I've
so you
got
think the
plenty of
summer of
data to show
2020
that.
was
All you
mostly
have to
black
do-
people? Or like dumb fuck lefty like
Well,
suburbanites who are in college like going out and starting
It
shit.
was disproportionately. Well, it was. You're right. There was a bunch of lefty white libtards starting
the
shit. However,
I'll answer that question. The majority of the people that were pushing all of that were white, but they were doing it on a premise or a notion that black people want to defund the police and get rid of them. ACAB, you know?
okay. Well,
Tho-
so there was a civil court case that found cigarette companies, big tobacco, not liable for a bunch of lung cancer claims back in 1991. So, if you disagree with that court case, does that mean you hate America?
Well, no, because like those are very like disparate things. Like you're talking about a general distrust of the institution of the justice system. Like if you disagree with a ruling for like reasons, or you know, like that's fine. Like you can have questions about a thing, but like if you're just broadly going to say like quote unquote justice system, yeah, I think that's like anti-establishment
Well,
bullshit.
that's what we're saying. That's what we're saying. We're saying just because there was the civil case that ruled in this one case about Donald Trump and E. Jean Carroll, which was in New York, that doesn't mean he's necessarily guilty. And the fact that you're using that to presume he is guilty says a lot about your logical consistency.
Okay, I don't know what civil case you're talking about, so I just Googled it, and like in 1991, Grady Carter brought the first tobacco case to result in a paid verdict when he sued Brown and Williamson Tobacco Company for lung cancer. Won $750,000 in 1996 after a jury found that cigarettes were unreasonably dangerous and defective. The defendant paid Carter in 2001 after exhausting all appeals. Is there like a specific like case that you're talking about?
That wasn't the case I was referring to.
Okay, for sure.
I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, not all cases are going to go through, obviously, and like I don't deny that there probably are some that failed.
But let's say hypothetically, because I don't know the case offhand, but let's say hypothetically, a civil court ruled that actually these cigarette companies aren't liable. Does that mean that you know
aren't liable for what? Like
they're
I
not
mean,
liable?
like they might have just had a shitty lawyer who sued from the wrong standing, because I think to hold a tobacco company civilly liable, you have to sue them for having a defective product. I think is the rule, or that's like a big component of it.
Maybe the New York case had shitty lawyers for Trump. So what we're talking about, we're not talking about the civil case. We're not talking about what a bunch of New York jurors say. We're talking about the facts of the evidence. And E. Jean Carroll is a insane retard.
Well, weren't most of the damages that
Ouch.
Trump was assessed, like because he wouldn't like shut the fuck up during that trial? Like he literally just sat there and talked bad shit the whole time and like didn't actually substantiate his case, which is why he lost.
Guilty. That doesn't mean he's guilty.
Cool. Did he substantiate his case at all? Okay, cool. So you don't know the details of that case. You don't know the details of the cigarette case. So like, it sounds like you just don't know what the fuck you're talking about, to be very honest. So, which would make sense in why you distrust the whole system. Like, you know, I'm also afraid of things that I don't understand.
I don't trust the whole system, and neither should you. What I'm
I
saying
mean, I don't
is,
trust the
if you
whole system,
understand the
like,
facts
as a
of the
rule.
E.G.
Like, that
Carroll
would be
case,
stupid.
Okay, yeah. Well, that was your argument, because you said, because a New York jury said this, that probably, yes, he did assault E.G. Carroll. What I'm asking you is, based on the facts of the actual case, do you believe he assaulted her?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it sounds like something he would do. Yeah, like he's a
Based
dog shit
on
human.
what evidence?
I mean, just based on his character, really. Like, I don't know, the grab him by the pussy line, the like
So
his
it's
first
so it
divorce
goes back
being the
to
result of him bringing
character.
his mistress
Okay.
like on vacation and like.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
We're not talking about his character. I'm asking for evidence.
What evidence are you asking for? Like forensic evidence? Like, you understand the Human Genome Project wasn't even really completed
Yeah.
until like the late aughts, right?
Yeah, well, we could have forensic evidence, but E.G. Carroll withheld that evidence because she wouldn't give up the dress that she was supposedly wearing at the time.
When?
During the civil case. I mean, she
That's not going to be valid evidence.
National TV.
What? Okay, so
It would
and
be
how long
valid
ago was
evidence
this?
if she
Like,
would've
this is
admitted
what, like 30 or 40 years ago, and you think viable like DNA
Yeah.
data is going to be like on the stress still?
Well, there could be a forensic analysis if she would have accepted that into the court, but she didn't.
And are there not a lot of cases where people
Okay,
look
so if it came back negative though,
hold on,
like
hold
that's
on,
not.
Let me fucking finish. Let me finish. Please. I let everyone else finish. Let me finish. Are there not cases where people go to court or end up getting put in prison for murder or SA or any of these other things, and then now that we have DNA evidence to substantiate things, do they not go back and pull the evidence and the DNA to prove whether or not these people committed these crimes?
Yeah, right, like the Central Park Five. But what he's saying is, oh, well, we can see by Donald Trump's character, Donald Trump hates women. He says grab her by the pussy and whatnot. Well,
Character,
if you're using that metric, let's look at E.G. Carroll's character. She's a psychopath. She named her dog penis and her cat vagina. She paints her trees in her backyard blue. Like, if we're judging off character, I don't think Donald Trump is losing that case.
I don't know.
I personally believe that we've been misled on a lot of things. I just don't know exactly what we've been misled on wholly.
Well,
yeah, and she said, E.G. Carroll said on national TV that grape is sexy.
That's weird.
I mean, is it?
I mean, let me ask you this, if you don't mind, Dr. Darko. You remember when Cardi B came out?
Maybe to you.
Do you remember when Cardi B came out a few years ago and she admitted to raping
robbing
and sexually assaulting
fucking
and
up men? Yeah, robbing the fuck
robbing?
out of them. Yeah, yes, I do.
Do you think she should have been charged for criminal liability through that?
I mean,
she openly admitted?
Well, no, she didn't. She wasn't found guilty by a civil court. It was never brought to the Justice Department. Therefore, she's innocent.
Yeah, I mean, I think crime is bad and should probably be like punished. She probably is never going to do that again, though. So is the thing.
Well, what I'm getting at is, you know, there's people that say a lot of things that don't, and a lot of horrible, egregious things, and they don't get prosecuted for it. I don't see why someone saying something that you don't like or approve of or appreciate is grounds for criminal prosecution and liability.
I'm sorry. Can you say that last part again?
I don't understand why somebody saying things that you don't like or agree with, just saying words are grounds for some kind of criminal prosecution. Specifically, I'll even add to it, specifically when one person actually admitted to doing what the other person was accused of.
I don't
which is
think
Cardi
that's...
B actually doing the very thing Trump was accused of doing, and nobody really brought any evidence forward to prove or substantiate that claim.
Well, yeah, someone has to like press charges, right?
No, the state can press charges on that.
And it depends on their lawyer. Like,
What? Okay,
like we had
so
the Alex Jones case, for example.
so walk with me
We
here.
had the Johnny Depp case.
So a district attorney is in some state is going to file charges against Cardi B, and like for the fucking indictment is going to list, it's like, well, she said she did it, and like what the fuck else are they going to put on that report, dog? Like what?
Well, no, well.
They have no testimony from anyone.
So,
like what? That's not a real case.
And you're right, it's not a real case because who are her victims? Who are the victims of Cardi B? They're not going to come out in the open. They're mostly like black dude gangsters and in Atlanta.
Sure, I mean,
all I'm saying is there's a lot of things that people get away with doing and saying that they condemn others for doing and saying the very same thing, and I find it troubling and disingenuous. I mean, especially when we hear people from both sides specifically coming out and making the claims that they just want to find some kind of common ground, that they're tired of the slanders and the slurs and the ad homs, but yet that's always where things end up going, and nobody wants to see the facts.
And the determination of the jury says it all, and we learned this from the Kyle Rittenhouse case. But what I was asking you is, what evidence do we have that Donald Trump actually assaulted this woman? And I'm not asking you to reference a civil court case. I'm asking you for the actual evidence.
For sure. I mean, E. Jean Carroll's testimony.
Do people lie?
Okay, what about the testimony?
I don't know.
Do people lie?
I mean, sure. The jury didn't seem to think that she was lying,
So
even though she had a weird cat with names or like weird pet names. And
again, we're not talking about the civil court jury. We're talking about the actual evidence,
but
not what a crazy bitch said.
Hold on, Red. If he wants to talk about the jury, let's talk about the jury. Who were the jury members specifically made up of?
Yeah, I don't know. They go through the jury selection process where like both lawyers get to like dismiss people, and like if they can't.
What demographic of people was the vast majority?
I don't know. That doesn't.
Well, on that specific jury, they were mostly white. They were New York, and they were female. However, it doesn't fucking matter. I'm asking for the actual evidence of the case, not what the jury said, because we all know. I mean, if you remember Gary Busey, that guy that shot his child's offender in the head, he was acquitted by his jury because they understand that this guy just killed his
child's fucking
right, even though he just committed an act of murder in front of everyone.
Okay, so just to be clear,
the jury
was 6 men and 3 women. So for the E. Jean Carroll case, the jury was 6 men and 3 women. Right?
Okay.
So I don't know why you said it was mostly women.
I didn't say it was mostly women.
Well, someone did. Someone said it was like, mostly women from New York. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the majority of the case that E. Jean Carroll was suing for was for defamation, which Trump continued to do throughout the case, like on social media, like outside of the case.
We're not talking about defamation. We're not talking about defamation. We're talking about assault. Okay, so what is the evidence that he assaulted this woman?
Yeah, I don't know, because the only defense he apparently had was to like talk mad shit about her.
Well, we're not talking about his defense. I'm asking for the evidence.
Well, sure, because there was testimony that came out that accused him of doing something.
No, I'm not asking about testimony that was then adjudicated by whatever the jury said. I'm asking for the evidence.
Okay, so like you need like a recording or like like some like very direct evidence. Like, is that what you're like asking for?
Kind of like anything.
Sure.
Because the only physical evidence that I'm aware of is that dress that she didn't want to come off of. Kind of like the same deal with that girl that claimed that Brett Kavanaugh did the same thing to her.
Yeah, and you know what that's called? It's called hearsay.
No, that's not what that's called. You, Jesus fucking Christ. Hearsay is when you hear something and then you say it. That's like you testifying that like you heard something from someone else. Direct testimony is not hearsay.
Yeah, well, if you hear this from E. Jean Carroll, I mean, what other evidence is there other than her saying it?
I mean, the fact that Trump's only defense, like he had no, like nothing else to fall back on. No, like I was in this business
So
meeting.
he said, she said, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean that's how the court works sometimes.
Okay, so thank you for answering my initial question. There is no actual evidence of her doing anything.
Of her doing? Oh, of him doing anything. I mean, I guess not in the way that you've constructed it. No.
No, I just think there's a lot of people who've been coming out and taking advantage of this money grab known as Donald Trump lately.
I mean,
yeah, and well,
he seems to be kind of broke, so I don't think
civil court cases.
Do what?
Oh yeah, Donald Trump is totally broke. But I think we should understand when it comes to celebrities, high-profile politicians. I mean, Congress has allotted multiple millions of dollars for these kinds of cases. Exactly. And all celebrities, it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're Leonardo DiCaprio or Big Sean, you allot a certain amount of money for bitches that say you did something, even though you didn't. You just pay them off. That's kind of how it goes.
Also, I'm sorry, I have autism. Do you have a fucky cord, or like, is your sampling rate like wrong, or like, I don't know, you have a lot of static and crackling coming through your microphone, and it is.
He's white trash from Michigan. That's his issue.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm outside right now. That's the problem.
Oh, weird. Oh, wait.
I'm white trash from Indiana, so I have the same issue. So
wow, we can all hang out.
Does video count as evidence? Just asking.
Video of what?
Weird. That girl.
Well, a civil
hypnotic.
court case didn't rule on it, therefore he must be innocent.
Yeah, that's the exact words that I said. Entirely.
Well, no, I was just asking for evidence of the case, and all you could point to was what the civil court decided, which wasn't what I was asking.
So, do you feel the same way about courts that rule in the favor of police that are involved in police-involved shootings? That the court ruled that they did, that the court may have ruled that they did nothing wrong, so therefore they must have done nothing wrong.
I mean, probably. Like, I would lean that way. You know, I don't know. It depends on the case.
I'm not trying to get. Look, Dr. Dargo, I'm not trying to get you in a gotcha moment or anything like that. I'm just trying to legitimately lay out a premise here. You know what I'm saying? Where not everything is always, cut and dry.
Well, this is interesting because he said probably. He keeps saying probably. So if a court says something, that means you lean towards it probably, correct?
Well, I mean, without further details, like, I'm not going to say that the court has never done anything wrong ever, because that would be stupid as fuck.
And that's not what I'm accusing you of.
For sure. So, like, on the other end of that, I don't, like, categorically think that, like, most of them are corrupt and are, like, more often than not wrong. So, yeah, that puts me in this weird, like, more than 50% of the time, like, they're probably right. So, yeah, without further details and, like, actually reading this stuff.
Within this probably analysis, we should judge it on a case-by-case basis, and we judge that by evidence, right?
I mean, look at the outcomes of the case and, like, the evidence. Yeah, I mean, sure.
No, not well. No, the outcomes of a civil court and what the jury says. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the actual evidence.
Well, okay. So, are you saying that you're going to act as your own jury and, like, just dismiss, like, what was going on there? Like, yeah, I don't know. That's
Well, if a court decides that the sky isn't blue, for example, hypothetically, obviously that would never happen. But if the court says the sky isn't blue, you can obviously go outside and see the sky is blue. So, you have to judge it based on the evidence, not what the court says, because that's not sufficient.
Well, sure, but again, the Eugene Carroll suit was mostly about defamation because Trump's like main avenue of defense was to call her a crazy bitch and say that she's lying.
Okay, do you know? Right, I understand that. The thresholds for defamation in New York State.
There's like the actual malice standard. I'm pretty sure is like the like pretty broad category. I know like per se defamation is
Well, it's malice. It's in New York State. It's malice and personal gain. It's not just malice.
I
So do you agree that she had a defamation case?
I mean, yeah, like did you watch any of that case? If you know anything about that case, yeah, like he just couldn't shut his fucking mouth the whole time.
I watched some. I watched some of it, dude. But no, honestly, I watched some of it, but I've been so tired of watching Trump court cases since 2016, and I'm beyond it. The reason why I asked you if you believe she had a defamation case is, do you think since you believe she had a defamation case, do you think that Trump has also defamation cases for all the slander and false allegations and accusations that the media has put out against him?
What false ones and like were they like?
I can give examples if you want.
Okay, cool. And do they meet the actual malice threshold for public figures?
Well, for instance, let me get like for instance, when he was in what was that, Charlotte, and they had that big riot out there over the statue, and the media quoted him and saying there were good people on both sides. They ironically and intentionally left out the part where he said that he disavows white supremacy.
Well,
yeah, I don't think that matters. I don't think that matters. Like for that court,
there was a civil case. There was a civil case a couple years ago that actually made this threshold a lot higher, and so people like Donald Trump, anyone who's in the public light, any celebrity or public figure, it's damn near impossible to prove defamation beyond the shadow of a doubt in the court.
That's not quite true.
And honestly, I think if anything, rather than defamation, I think Trump would have a slander lawsuit.
Well, I mean, even Johnny Depp couldn't get that.
No, he did. He won eventually.
Christ, dude, will you let me finish a statement?
Sorry, there's also some lag. I don't know if that's.
But it wasn't defamation.
No, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to the fucking angry ginger up here.
Oh, word.
The fucking soulless demon.
Fuck out of my state.
No, go ahead, father of 3 soulless demons.
Hey, you know what? It isn't my fault that I got cursed.
Oof. Did you bang Amaranth?
See what?
I don't know. It was the first ginger I thought of. Okay.
Reference?
No, it was a reference to a Twitch e-thought.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Twitch, man.
Oh, for sure.
Thank God.
I'm 45 years old, man. I don't know nothing about none of that shit. I didn't even want to get on YouTube. The only reason why I did is because my Facebook page was part of the purge of 2020.
Hmm.
But yeah, us libertards and lolbertarians can go at this on and on and on in these several court cases. What we're saying is, in this, Trump victory, which is probably what we're experiencing right now, what's the cope on your side? Because we try to look at like Destiny and Cenk Uygur and see what they're going through right now. What do you think is your guys' plan of action here on out?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got a poll too.
To step back and reconsider our approach, because obviously, what we were doing is not working. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could always just smack some people on the ass.
But I'm serious.
These are the kind of guys you like to smack in the ass.
Base.
Yeah, no, it is based actually.
Well, hey, what about him learning about roaches from the little black boys that used to like to rub his hair down in the pool?
Oh yeah, I love that Death Grip said it.
Pretty based.
You know,
They like
I mean,
to
honestly,
rub
you
my
gotta
leg
admit,
down and watch the hair.
Honestly, you got to admit, Biden was kind of like the dumbest decision anybody could have made.
What do you mean? He trounced Trump.
I mean, can you give us that?
What do you mean? He destroyed Trump like crazy. He would have won again the second time, but fucking Nancy Pelosi cucked him so fucking hard. But yeah, he will go down in history as like the dude who beat Trump and didn't lose to him.
Why? Wait, hold on. Yeah, we know. I mean, I agree with you. There wasn't any other Democratic candidate that could have beaten Donald Trump in 2020. Well, why do you think Nancy Pelosi cucked him?
Because you could have won, dog.
People would have voted for a shit sandwich because they hated.
Wait,
Trump.
do you think Biden could have won 2024?
Obviously, I don't know why they let the dumb bitch run.
I learned a lot, and I learned.
That's the cope. That's the real cope. Obviously, is like a.
But if that was the case, why is Nancy Pelosi? Why is Nancy Pelosi cucking him?
I mean, she was the ringleader behind that.
Okay, they installed her. They kicked him out and put her in. She didn't have any primary votes, and they put her in after kicking him out. They did more than let her run.
No,
they made room for her to run.
Yeah, obviously, and that was a whole Democratic operation. But what I'm saying is, why did Nancy Pelosi shut Joe down and put Kamala in when she knew that wasn't going to be the case? Like, what's her goal? What's Nancy Pelosi trying to do?
What do you mean trying to do? Might have just been wrong.
She's trying to avoid charges for fucking insider trading.
Nancy Pelosi is trying to help globalists establish a global dictatorship of governance through the UN. I have a clip of her from 1992 talking about
good for her.
About Agenda 21 in 1992. Talking about NGOs in 1992. That's what she's trying to do because she's getting kickbacks. How does someone in her position bring in that much money?
Well, what I'm asking our Democrat friend here is, why would Nancy Pelosi cuck her own party?
Well, she didn't cuck her own party. She cucked Biden. Specifically. Because she thought she knew shit, and she was wrong.
And that cucked her own party.
Well, yeah, but that's like, she wasn't I'm doing this to fuck over the Democrats. It was like a, well, yeah. It's like this weird thing. Like, I don't think my party is, just completely, free of any sort of blame or guilt or accountability.
You're saying she fucked up. She made a big mistake, and she wasn't trying to cuck anybody.
I mean, that's the real cope, is like, Biden would have won, and you can't prove me wrong. Because we'll never know.
Really?
You can't prove
you think so?
Right,
even though with record disapproval levels, he would have won?
I mean, you know who else had record disapproval levels? I don't think Trump's approval ratings ever got over like 48. So, Biden at like 45-ish.
Yeah, but he lost.
Doesn't really scare me.
But he lost.
He just won the popular vote.
Listen, we'll see on that one.
Approval rating.
We'll see on that
he
one.
Won the popular vote.
Listen, there's more context
right
to
now,
that data.
He does have the popular vote.
Well, yeah, but it's also not fully counted yet.
Are you not accepting the results of the election?
What do you mean? We don't have the full results yet. They're still counting.
That's what we said in 2020.
So, do you understand?
Do you understand what the safe harbor date is? Oh, rip red.
No, I understand that respectfully, you've been moving the goalpost every time I point out that you're literally advocating for things that you didn't advocate and you wanted Trump prosecuted for, which is hypocritical to say the least.
Well, no, like I'm memeing on you and being ironic. You understand that, right?
Hold on. Do what?
You understand that I'm memeing on you
I didn't hear what.
and like and being ironic, right?
It's okay. It's okay. Snowman is Gen X. You're gonna have to explain it to him.
For sure. Must be a sorry. A meme from somewhere else.
Yeah, I don't even know if you. I don't understand the lexicon that you're speaking.
Is that a lip piercing?
Yeah.
Oh, is that Bumpkin?
Yeah, baby.
What's up, my guy?
How's it going?
We got a liberal up here.
Yeah.
It's okay. We know we don't dogpile liberals, right? No one likes
we don't.
it.
We actually try to be decent conversations.
I mean, I came here to get
Bumpkin.
dogpiled, so let's go, dog.
I know exactly.
You like being dogpiled by big men? You like being dogpiled by big, strong men?
Yeah, he's getting off.
We can round up.
Dude, you're making him blush, Mike.
Damn, using my first name too. Oh shit.
Right.
These are the kind of guys you like to smack in the ass.
I guess I am drinking the bi-coastal IPA.
So what's your thoughts on what's your take on the election so far tonight, Bumpkin?
Fucking saw the red wave that we should have saw in 2020.
In 2022.
But it makes sense. You know, most presidents wouldn't Huh?
Oh, the red wave you were expecting in 2020 and 2022.
2022 was the red illusion, for lack of a better word.
Oh God, yeah.
Well,
the red mirage.
I mean, if you look at it, it makes sense because Trump did experience a pandemic, which he did not handle the best. I think we can all admit that he didn't handle that the best. Be it either he was just listening to medical advisors that were not the best.
Okay.
Or the people that he surrounded himself with were not the best, but he didn't handle it the best.
Okay.
So that
were those experts the one telling him that it was just going to magically go away by Easter and be a miracle, or was that all his dumb fuck brain?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Fauci was saying that.
Yeah, Fauci said it's just going to go away, and it's not even in here, and there's no cases in the U.S. That's what Fauci was saying up until April.
In February and March. Yes, Fauci was saying it should go away.
Actually, if you recall, Fauci was actually putting out there that what was going around was no worse than the flu.
I remember Nancy Pelosi telling everybody to come on down to Chinatown, that it was nothing to worry about, and that Trump was just being xenophobic, trying to stop people from bringing it into the country.
Yeah, why do people have a mental block when it comes to these things?
She wasn't.
Oh, because I'm not an anti-establishment partisan hack.
Trying to stop it.
So is your argument that Trump wasn't hard enough?
Red, you guys got to quit, man. When we ask him a question, we got to let him answer. Otherwise, we won't. You know, he was asked a question. Let him fucking answer, man. That way we can get a clear discussion. Damn.
Well, he said it was because he's not an anti-establishment partisan hack. Does that mean anybody who sees things differently is an anti-establishment partisan hack?
No. No, we're trying to do the laws of deductive logic meme here.
So I'm very familiar with affordance traps.
Oh, for sure.
And there's always a third option.
Oh.
So are you calling me an anti-establishment hack?
Probably. I don't know. I haven't heard.
Not implying that about anyone.
I don't know. Just a suspicion I have.
You're gonna end up hating me by the end of this.
Oh.
You're gonna end up hating me by the end of this. I am about 100 degrees more extreme than probably everyone on this panel. No offense, Snowman. No offense, Red. But you guys know this.
All right. Listen, I'm gonna test your extremism. Okay. Do you feel strongly about the Second Amendment?
I do.
Do you think that private ownership of nukes is okay?
I do.
No. Okay.
Okay. Well,
I'm not like.
All right. Listen, we got our answer there. Snowman was so quick. Snowman was so quick with that yes, and you were like, no, dog.
Of like libertarianism.
Okay, for sure. All right. Well,
I believe that we should be able to obtain any kind of weapons or armament that we need in order to defend ourselves against tyranny. Because never know where tyranny is going to come from or what shape or size it's going to be.
Yeah. What if it's from Russia with nukes? Gotta nuke him back, dog. And I want one on my mantle.
How am I going to defend nukes if I don't have nukes? It's actually it's the threat of nukes is what keeps people from dropping nukes, right?
I feel like the global economy is a little bit more of a driving factor,
Red.
but
Shut up, Red. We're not doing
No,
that.
what I'm saying is it's the threat of war is what keeps other nations from going to war with other nations.
I mean, I don't know.
Most people don't want to deal with war.
I mean, I can think of at least 2 instances that are going on right now that say that that's not true. Unless you specifically mean countries with nukes, like don't attack each other.
My whole point of not allowing people to own nukes would just because I don't believe that people could manage or upkeep nukes properly. That's my whole thing. It's not the fact of them owning it. Well, it kind of is. I just don't think they could upkeep it. I just don't think they could properly know how to maintain it. So I just think that's like detrimental.
Right. It's like we don't allow like an average citizen couldn't have a large hadron collider.
Right.
Why not? Sounds like big government to me, dog.
Because they can't.
Because they're dangerous.
Is it? Or is it just because they're expensive?
Fucking blow. Well, if you don't know what you're doing, you can actually cause some real damage to some shit.
Exactly. It's less of the fact that they're of them owning it, it's the fact that normal citizens cannot afford the upkeep of said things.
Well, I mean, if they could afford it, if Elon wanted to build his own large hadron collider in Texas, like they kind of tried to do like a.
Yeah, let him do it.
Let him do it because he has the infrastructure and the power behind him to actually maintain.
Okay, so some private citizens can own nukes and large hadron colliders.
Okay. When we're talking about like mass owning of stuff, right? Not everyone is a multi-billionaire, right?
And
so like,
well, hold on, because you do know that like almost every single thing except for a nuke that I'm aware of, and any kind of biological weapon. Americans, if they can afford the tax stamp, can go out and purchase damn near anything the government has.
Pretty much.
Not entirely. Well, I guess you might be able to buy it. I don't know.
You can own a tank. You can
own a tank. You can own a Comanche. You can own a gunship. If you can buy a fucking battleship that they don't have no more. You can own all those things. You just got to be able to afford the tax stamp.
Well, sure, but I mean, like, are you allowed to utilize those vehicles though? Like, am I allowed to drive my gunship out on the ocean, like in America's waters?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, a gunship is actually a helicopter for one.
Oh yeah, sorry. I mean,
it's not a ship that goes out in the ocean.
But yeah, absolutely. I know, like, even in blue states like Washington State, where I grew up.
You mean Seattle and the land around Seattle?
It just.
Sorry.
No. I grew up in the rural parts of Washington. The only true Washingtonians. Everyone else is yuppies.
No, I was talking about the state of Washington, aka Seattle and the land surrounding Seattle.
Well, I mean,
Sure.
they basically could have had tanks roaming around Chaz in 2020, and no one would have done a thing.
Well, sure. I mean, they couldn't do anything though.
They could have rolled the National Guard in and dispelled them, but
Well, that's even questionable. I mean, is the National Guard allowed to use lethal force against American citizens?
There's non-lethal force methods.
Then why don't we see that shit happening when riots go on?
Because, well, for starters, we have weak-willed politicians that aren't really willing to do that. Secondly, they kind of like people to just cause chaos and cause mayhem because they.
Well, you actually do see that going on. It's called Waco and Ruby Ridge.
Yeah, but that's
those are only two small instances though, and that was a controlled instance against a specific group of people. So, basically like families. Randy Weaver's family and David Koresh's family, both of them. Well, Randy Weaver being, an exclusionist, somebody that just wanted to separate himself from society and the government. And then you got David Koresh, they were technically a militia down there at the Branch Davidians. And we know what happened there. But those,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, why does it seem like the only time those types of situations happen is if it's against someone who is what they deem a terrorist, but are what most would consider a patriotic person just standing for their rights.
I mean, if Killdozer had a BLM flag on his tank, he would have been perfectly fine.
Well, you're probably right.
Yeah, like I've been saying forever, politics is power.
Well, it's all identity politics now. It's not even real politics. It's all about identity.
Yeah, true. I mean, fuck, the Amish just won us the fucking election, so.
Yeah, shout out to the fucking Amish too, by the way. Y'all will never talk shit about not being able to understand you motherfuckers, or about the fact that you guys smell like dog shit every day of your life.
I'm about to cop me some Amish raw milk.
Yeah.
I grew up on unpasteurized milk, sir.
That explains a lot. I'm just joking.
I used to work part-time for a dairy farm, dummy.
Yeah, I know. Cool. Yeah, I know. Our friend left. He can definitely still hear us, though. He's kept his headphones on.
Man, I can't believe I've been streaming for what is this now? Fucking 7.5 hours and not a single dono tonight. Man.
We just experienced the same thing in over
bunch of cheap bastards.
We were streaming for a solid 12 hours, and legitimately, I think there's like maybe one dono. 143 people watching. It's kind of crazy.
Wow.
It's our Twitter does a lot of the work, though. Our Twitter does a lot of the work.
Elon Musk is doing a lot right now. He's changing the course of history.
We'll see about that.
It's still determined what side of the fucking Brody's on, though, man. Because look, I'm very apprehensive about Elon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this: if he goes more towards like the hydrogen route, because I know that he was trying to sort of build a hydrogen engine, I think that's going to be a lot better than even gas engines that we have now.
Yeah, kind of like the hydrogen planes and the Zeppelins that were flying around. And it's kind of like how RFK was like, yeah, Trump on day one is going to remove the fluoride from the water. He's going to get rid of all the ridiculous microplastic plans that are coming into all of our food sources. If RFK is in the administration, if Ron Paul is in the administration, if Elon Musk is in the administration, it changes the game. And obviously, all these guys are for the hats. However, I don't really give a fuck about Israel at this point. I just want to take a shower in water that I know is not going to make me gay.
I don't think fluoride makes you gay. It does lower.
Well, no, that's atrazine. Atrazine.
Yeah.
I have that sticker.
Is there atrazine in our fucking?
Yeah, dude. There's atrazine. There's estrogen. It's ridiculous.
Look, Bumpkin, I had a buddy that worked at a water treatment facility, and this dude told me that they didn't just put what he's talking about in there and fluoride. There were times that they made him put like fucking the antidepressant medication in the water.
No,
listen. Make frogs straight again.
Zoma
That's
me
it right
harder.
there.
Zoma me harder, government.
You know, I would like to see our actual political system and our government get to a point to where the average middle class, blue collar worker that's actually in touch with the American people, that are actually out here, boots on the ground in the streets, out in the real world with the rest of the real world, could actually afford to run for these positions. Because where we're at now, it's almost impossible for someone who's just middle class to even have any kind of attempt to be able to be funded to run for any of these positions. At this rate, we're stuck with the same old money and then passing their money down to their heirs. That's what's
So
happening
this
right
has always been the liberal position. We should get these toxic pollutants out of the American drinking water, the American food system. What does our liberal friend think about this? Like, should we or should we not be trying to get the shit out of our food systems? Because we're obviously facing a health crisis when you look at chronic disease and whatnot.
I mean,
Yeah, we
yeah,
are not
pollution is
healthy.
bad. Sorry, I'm not entirely sure what you're asking me. I guess. Yeah, pollution is bad. Should make people pollute less if we, where we can. Uh, yeah, the
Well, what he's
standard
talking
American
about
diet is
specifically
trash.
is what he's talking about specifically is the microplastics, and they actually just had several Senate hearings over that within the last week or two.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I don't know, like
Either Senate or House hearings. I can't remember which one for sure.
right. I feel like we're always like 10 or 15 years behind. Like, oops, we've been like dumping this shit into our water and didn't even know about it. And like it's been there for a while. Like I don't know, like my grandpa was full of lead, my dad was full of asbestos, I'm full of microplastics, and yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm ascending to godhood, or something else. I don't know.
Or plastic hood.
Plastic hood. I don't know. I do agree that something needs to be done about the whole food thing here in America, because I don't know if you're aware of it, but like even something as simple as like the ketchup that we have in America has 50 other different ingredients and preservatives and dyes
Yep.
and colors
And it has food dyes that are banned in Europe, Asia, all over the world. I mean, when Russia is banning chemical ingredients that we're allowing into our foods, what does that tell you?
Tells me
There's
that
another
you don't
thing,
trust our justice
emulsifiers.
system, but you
Yeah,
trust
the
Russia's
things that
FDA.
the bonding.
Yes, I
bonding-
actually do. I trust Russia's FDA more than our justice system.
The
That's
bonding agent that they use to make road asphalt, bromine, they also put that in things that we consume, and they do it with things that don't potentially mix, like citrus oils in drinks. So a lot of citrus drinks have emulsifiers, not specifically bromine, but some type of emulsifier, and they do it in ice cream, in peanut butter, a lot of different things, and it competes in the body for iodine.
You want to hear something
And
interesting?
I can't really be more specific because I'm not a doctor, and YouTube's on this medical tyranny thing. They don't allow people to express their opinions or share anything about medical stuff, so I
Well, you
can't
hear something
really talk
interesting,
about it.
Cyber? I was listening to something a couple 3 or 4 weeks back about somebody said take a piece of bread, take a like a banana, and then take a spoonful of that margarine shit that you think is butter in your fridge, and set it outside on like a plate in the driveway or in the yard, and watch and see what doesn't get ate.
Yeah.
But see, it's not butter. It's not banana. It's some weird shit. And you were talking about this earlier with the onion film that's around the plastics, and they're spraying all of these crops, especially from America, with this product that's supposedly
Dude, they're
fertilizer.
they're even putting that kind of shit in lubes and shit now too. Those plastics. Like people that use lube for having intercourse and shit. That it's in that now too.
Yeah, well, it's a wrap because most of the microplastics come from automobile accidents. So when cars crash into each other and their bumpers are both plastics, boom, all that plastic goes into our atmosphere and we breathe it in.
And I don't think he's quite ready for the chemtrail thing.
Also, Cyber, for what it's worth, the compound you're talking about is isothiocyanates. But yeah, it does.
Well, what was the total compound that was released in East Palestine, Ohio?
It was gaseous
was,
hydrochloric acid.
Yes, it's
No, it was
it's
poly.
It was polyethylene. It was PVC before it's turned into PVC. It's the liquid form of it.
Yeah, and then when they burn that, it turns into gaseous hydrochloric acid and carbon dioxide.
But see, we're never going to know the effects of that because we're not testing the control group now. We need to be
What do you
testing
mean?
everyone in the region right now, which is to say, because
Wait, why?
obviously East Palestine, well, because in East Palestine, Ohio, a bunch of chemicals got blown up, and all that shit is running into the groundwater. It's running into the atmosphere. So if we don't have a control group, people are never going to have a basis to claim, hey, you blew this up, you gave my daughter cancer or whatnot. Whereas, otherwise they wouldn't be able to make that claim.
A lot of people are unaware that those chemicals actually ended up in the Ohio River that feeds the lake, the Mississippi River, which are
But you need to make the base control group right now. You need to test how much of these chemicals are in the groundwater, how much of these chemicals are in the human population right now. Because if you can't do that, you can't prove 10 years from now that this company gave you cancer. They'll just say, "Oh, well, you just naturally got cancer."
Yo, dude, because isn't that what you just said right there? Isn't that the premise on that Aaron Brockovich court cases that she did with the people that caught cancer from?
Yeah, I mean that's the argument they try to use with asbestos.
Yeah, I think that's the same argument that the tobacco companies used when it came to lung cancer too, and birth defects that people were claiming in their kids.
But yeah, that's why you don't go by like singular studies. You normally go by like a meta-analysis.
Yeah, well, in order to have a meta-analysis, think about what a meta-analysis is. It's based off a control group. It's based off a control placebo study. Well, minus the placebo. We need a baseline control of what the soil is in Ohio right now,
You'll never be
East
able
Palestine.
to line because you don't know what it was beforehand now.
Exactly. So you need right now a baseline at least, so we can prove in the future that, hey, these chemicals have been contaminating us. If you don't start doing the studies now, you're never going to be able to prove that in the court of law.
Well, yeah, but also like the compounds that were released like are present like naturally already and are like mostly tied to like acute damage.
Okay,
not,
yeah,
and not chronic.
Well, lead is also naturally dispersed product, but you wouldn't want a bunch of lead in your child's daycare, would you?
Same with mercury.
I mean, sure.
I'm just saying there's a lot of things to what he's saying. There's a lot of things that are naturally reoccurring that we don't.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying
ingest.
stuff that's naturally occurring is good. Like what I'm suggesting is that like a lot of this stuff is diluted and like is already present and is mostly like responsible for like acute damage in super high doses. And so therefore like if it's dilute and like over time, like there doesn't seem to be any health risks associated with it.
No, well, you're correct. However, if we see that dilution in a base population, for example, in 2020, and we compare it to, I don't know, 2027, and we see a 200% increase in that chemical, we can say, oh, well, maybe this and that corporation led to that increase, and we can start filing lawsuits against them.
I mean, so we're going to sue them for a train derailment?
Yeah.
Okay. Why wouldn't we sue the train company? Isn't it their fault?
They are suing the train company. That's the first. That's the first guy on the list.
Well, why would you like sue the person? Like I don't know. Like why would I want to start a business in America if you can just like sue like like if anything bad happens ever, like you can just sue everybody for money because fuck you.
Well,
like that sounds like a shitty business thing.
If
there has to be some responsibility on companies, right?
Right. If you're selling toxic products across the United States and it derails and poisons half the population in the area, yeah, you are liable. Sorry.
Sure. So the chemical company's liable or the train company is liable? Or is it just like anyone who's involved with it at all? Oh, I mean that's ludicrous. Like I don't know. I guess
No, I think the train company's responsible.
Since when are liberals pro like business? I mean, I get actually, maybe they're actually maybe liberals are finally going back to their roots.
Well, yeah. So here's the thing: is that we don't have a Republican Party anymore, so I have to do both sides of like being a shill for big corporations, like and like for entitlements at the same time, because Republicans just hate this country. I guess.
Yeah, polyester plastics. Yeah, sure.
Whatever helps you justify your neoliberalism, bro. You're good.
I love polyamorous plastics. But anyway, yeah, I do love big business because like I think getting rich in America is a big draw to why people come here who are pretty cool and do cool stuff.
People should probably stop coming here though.
Yeah, you're right. Deport Elon Musk tomorrow. That South African fucking alien. Get him the fuck out of my country. Absolutely.
Well, if we deport all the other South Africans with him, sure.
All right, yeah, dog. Let's go, dude. I can trace my heritage back to the Mayflower. Like I'm down to play this game.
I can as well, bro.
Me too. Let's go.
You're a legit colonizer that gave out
smallpox
blankets.
Anglo-Saxon, buddy, been here since the 1600s.
Yeah, dog. I traced. I have a coat of arms. Like I traced my shit back to Europe. Like there's a castle there in a place that like was mine, or my family's.
Well,
until they dipped out for America, since they were heretics.
Castle.
Almost every single person I know that's got Irish, Scottish, or fucking English or Welsh heritage says that very same thing, that they got a castle that they can trace back.
Well, obviously, right. Your entire you're being hyperbolic. Your entire genetics doesn't solely come from America. If that was the case, you would probably be inbred, right? Like if you did an ancestry DNA test, right? The chances of you being English or Anglo-Saxon from the Mayflower on both sides of your family tree, both mother and father, highly, highly unlikely.
Oh yeah, no. So like once you move like to a different like continent, within 2 generations, like your most of your genes are pretty homogenous with that continent's. Yeah.
There's only like a few. Probably like 100,000
we're talking
people.
about genetic claims to this land. So what you're bringing up is basically like black people when they say we are kings.
We was Iranians and shit.
I believe they said we was Kangs.
We was Kangs.
Yeah.
I believe we were kings.
No,
we have king blood running through us. You know what I'm saying?
Are kings.
Yeah, we are kings. Current kings. Every man a king.
Wait.
Shout out to whoever gets that reference.
Is it from Spartacus or Gladiator?
No, it's from Huey Long.
Oh. Did he have like some news and make a band?
Wait.
No, but
you don't know who Huey Long
made
is?
a band.
Wait, you don't know who Huey Long is?
I don't know who Huey Long is.
The like distributist, like socialist Democrat from Louisiana.
I heard Democrat socialist. I don't like socialism.
Shit, which one?
Just look up Huey Long. You'll be able to. He was a governor.
Wow, was he also Frank Sinatra?
Isn't he the old white dude?
He was also not Frank Sinatra. Maybe. Who knows? Potentially, right? That'd be a funny twist in history.
You gross. Left-wing populist. Disgusting. I disown him.
But what I'm trying to learn about is the left wing. Yeah, well, of course they don't like winning. They love losing. I just want to know what the left wing cope is. What is your cope? How do you go forward?
Biden would have won.
Okay, but that's not cope. We're going back into the past now. What is your cope from here on out?
That is my cope. Like, I don't know, dog. It's literally election night, okay? Listen, give me some time.
Okay. But here's the thing, right? Biden, looking at how this election went, right? The fundamental underlying reason why Kamala lost was because all of her promises she could have influenced over the Biden regime, but she didn't. She had 4 years to influence these said things, but she didn't. Like, she was in a position of power, and she didn't do these said things.
Bro, she was vice president. What responsibilities does she have? She cast so many tie-breaking votes on so much bipartisan legislation.
She said she wouldn't do anything different other than Joe Biden when interviewed on The View. She was the first person in the intelligence room during the Afghanistan withdrawal.
Well, I can answer your question very plainly. You asked what kind of power she has. Whatever power the president gives her.
Sure, and did she not like go negotiate with South American countries and Central American countries to like try to work out a better process?
Wait, how did she?
I don't know. That was her job, was to go like be an ambassador and like an actual person.
And how did she do that? What did she do?
Stuff and things.
Well, we know the results. We know the results. Whatever she did, we weren't there, and if they didn't put it on the news, we're not going to know about it. But we do know the results.
I mean, I know Biden's deported more people than Trump has, like categorically.
There were more people here to deport. There were more here to deport.
What, after the year of COVID?
After they let them in. No, after Biden.
No, after 3 years of Biden with 12 million people coming in.
Listen, I got.
Okay, bro. So the president after the deporter in chief, and then the person who deported more people than him.
Your question? Do you want me to answer your question?
I'm sorry. What was my question? I forgot.
He's really autistic.
I am on the spectrum.
Okay. So
you do have a tick, but that's okay.
After Biden, on his first day in office, used executive order to stop Trump's border security policies, that's when they came in.
And then he deported more people than Trump did. So like, I don't know. Do you think that like less people were claiming asylum under Trump than Biden?
No, what we're talking about is the policy. So Trump had the remain in Mexico policy.
Yeah, which is a dumb policy.
Had to stay in Mexico.
That's changing.
How
the
is that a dumb
context.
policy?
That's
Okay.
changing the context. We weren't talking about people claiming asylum. We were talking about people entering our country illegally, jumping the line, coming here without being properly processed.
Yeah, you don't know how immigration works. Like you don't know what the issue is at the border. Like you just don't.
I don't?
Yeah.
I could say the same thing about you.
Well, no, you can't, because I understand that like most people aren't just like hopping the border, which is why a wall is also a stupid idea and won't help. Because what people have found out is that if people show up, no. If you just show up at the border and say I'm claiming asylum, then they'll just like let you in and give you a court date.
If people aren't hopping the border, then how could they be deported?
Because if they come to the border seeking asylum and then skip their court date, that makes them an illegal. You don't know how. I don't even. I mean.
Yeah, well, we got plenty of those.
You're dancing around all over. You were talking about how more people have been deported under Biden.
Yeah.
And I said that there are more people coming in, and you said since when? And that's when everybody started talking.
No. What I asked you was like, were less people seeking asylum under Trump than Biden?
We're not talking about people seeking asylum.
Okay, then you don't understand what the issue is with the border, because it's not people hopping it. It's people. It's the asylum seeking process, and how underfunded it is and how tight up that whole
Well,
system is that like lets
anybody
people
can
just
hop
get
the
in.
border and say they're seeking asylum.
You
The
don't
matter of
no.
if
You
you're
don't
seeking
hop the border.
asylum,
You don't hop the
if you're
border
seeking
when you seek
asylum,
asylum. You go to the border.
yes, you do.
And you just get
yes,
let
you
in.
do. That's exactly what the border security bill
Court
was.
date. You skip your court date, right?
Snowman, I am showing a graph of how this works. If you would share my screen, please. I've drew something in MS Paint, so people can understand this very simply. Okay.
Cyber, you wanna handle that? Thank you.
Okay. All right. So here's how it goes, right? This person, right? Let's say he's Joe Biden, okay? There is a hole in the boat, right? The water are migrants, okay? So there is water coming into the boat rapidly, okay? Of course, this person is going to shovel out more water than the person or the previous captain who did not have a hole in said boat because there wasn't as many migrants coming in or as much water coming in. Do you catch my drift? So of course the person that has a mass amount of water flooding into the said metaphorical boat is going to push more water outside of said metaphorical boat. But I think the underlying problem here is the fact that this fucking guy, right, put a massive hole in the boat. All right.
Now, does that?
Yeah, he said rush the border.
Does that specify as to whether or not they're jumping over the border or seeking asylum and then skipping their court date?
That's not
Or is there
data.
any
Like there's
difference?
no
If they're- if
like
they're
that's not
in the
proof. Like he
country-
drew a
if
picture
they're
like
in
a
the
fucking
country
6-year-old with a
illegally.
crayon.
If
like,
they're
I don't
in
know
the
what.
country-
Okay.
Yeah,
You're just
that's
like,
how
duh,
illegal it
bro.
is.
Duh, bro. Common sense, bro. Like, you know.
And what's crazy is it is a dub because you're saying it's a shitty drawing and not saying why it's wrong.
Because it's not proof positive of your claim.
Because you know that Joe Biden.
You've made a claim. Now prove it.
Joe Biden was much more lax. Because you know Joe Biden was much more lax on immigration. He let in a far more amount of immigrants into the United States during his presidency.
I just know that.
Therefore,
so like you're just asserting this shit without like demonstrating it at all.
Use
common sense, bro. Logic, bro. Like it's just like the law of excluded middle, bro.
Take it to its logical conclusion, bro. Take it to its logical conclusion. Use the IQ that I know is deep down in your fucking mind, okay?
Let's pull up border crossings.
If you want to Destiny bro me and ask for a source every fucking 5 seconds, sure. I'll get you a source, homie.
For sure, dog. Yes, please. I would like you to substantiate your claims.
Here's some common sense, okay? Here's some common sense.
Common sense is retarded. Common sense ain't so common.
Okay, you're muted for now, okay?
Cool.
So don't mute him.
I have to. I have something I'm trying to say. I let him say what he has to say, and actually, yeah, I'll unmute you, and you can go ahead and continue to interrupt me while I'm trying to say this and show everybody how you don't want me to make a point against what you're saying.
I think you can be civil. I think you can be civil, bro.
Okay. Well, if there are people in the country illegally, does it matter if they hopped the border or skipped their court date? Or are they still here illegally? They're still here illegally, right? And people who are here illegally can be deported.
I think it does matter because how we solve the problem. Sorry.
What you were trying to say doesn't make any difference when it relates to what you were saying previously about how Biden deported more people than Trump. And it does not refute my point to the fact that the reason Biden deported more is because he was able to, because there were more people here illegally. It doesn't matter how they came here. And I understand what you're trying to say. We need more power in the processing of people into the country. And we need more enforcement of the laws when they skip their court dates. Right? Is that what you were trying to say, Darko?
Yes, because if
But
we're
there's
gonna
not enough processing power.
yeah, and or rather, like the point that I'm trying to, or sorry, I don't know if you just want a yes or no here.
Go ahead.
For sure. So when we look at the problem of like where like that hole in the boat from our very very clever friend's drawing, and like what like how big that hole is, like how we go about that problem, like isn't just it's not just a hole in a boat. There isn't just one way to solve it. Like we need to like divert resources into stuff that will actually help. And the majority of like they're like the largest contributor to illegal immigrants into the U.S. now is asylum-seeking people that are using that or that are like taking advantage of how backed up our systems are to like get away with like staying here and just like not getting caught. So if you want less illegal, I mean, I don't know if you just want to deport more people rather than like not let more people in illegally. But I think the latter would be a better solution.
Yeah, I would prefer a full moratorium on all immigration.
Well, that's
just
retarded.
me.
So
That's not really realistic. That's not retarded. Do you enjoy quasi slave labor? I mean, you have shield for big businesses, so.
Snowman's trying to talk.
Go ahead, Snowman.
No, I was just saying. I think that I agree. We need to stop letting people come to the country, and we need to start deporting people that ain't supposed to be in this country until this country gets well, because this country's very sick right now, and this country's more worried about what's going on in other countries and not worried enough about its own people and the people that are sick and dying and living on the streets here. I think that we should be. In what world are we taking resources from people in this country that need them and can't get them and giving them to people that aren't even from this country?
Bro, the bottom half of Americans don't pay any like federal income tax. Like I don't know like what you mean by that. Like we're not. I mean,
what are you fucking talking about, dude? Every one of us pay taxes every day. Every one of us.
Well, congrats on making more than the mean of Americans, I guess.
Dude, do you not pay sales tax on everything you buy?
Okay, so the claim that I said was like the bottom half of Americans aren't paying any federal income tax. So yeah, sales tax is generally a state tax.
The bottom half?
Yeah.
The bottom half.
Yeah, the bottom 50% of earners in America like pay like less than a 3% tax rate. Which is like the top 50% of people are paying 97% of the taxes.
They don't pay anything.
Oh, okay, sorry.
What happened to the Democratic Party?
So do you disagree with the Democratic Party's narrative that the richest in the country need to start paying their fair share as if they haven't been? Do you disagree with that?
I disagree with that framing, yes.
You just did.
I mean, you just did this. Are you trolling? Are you just up here trolling right now?
No, sorry. Listen, sorry. I'm being very specific because I have a large commitment in my soul to being internally consistent. So yeah, like I mean, I think wealthy people have been disproportionately paying like America's bill for a while, and so like I'm not saying that they've been paying nothing. But also we shouldn't just like deficit spend and like throw money at at everybody without like pairing it with any sort of like spending cuts.
Well, they've been paying a larger percentage of their income, but the majority of the people that make this lower income, because we are more people, more money goes to the government from us. But the rich people are paying a larger percentage of their income.
Did I wake up in Bizarro world? What is going on right now?
Yeah, I know. It's like a lefty who hates communism who knows about economics. I know it's fucking bananas.
No, it seems like you're arguing for trickle down economics.
No, supply side. No. Supply side economics is stupid as fuck. Like spending is isn't inherently bad.
Do you think less taxes on the rich will eventually trickle down to the lower classes?
Not necessarily. Like I don't know. There's a whole like Laffer curve there of like but yeah, I mean like a certain like percentage of corporate tax rate will encourage reinvestment and for stuff to be written off as revenue and expenses rather than like be pocketed as profits. And I think that's better for business.
Not happen. Reagan proved that didn't. That's
I mean,
not how that rolls.
I don't know. Listen, Reagan was stupid as fuck,
So did
so I don't know what.
George Bush.
Well, that's what Reagan did. He cut the taxes for the upper wealthy.
Well, sure.
And
I'm not saying you should cut corporate tax. I'm saying like there's like a nice like Goldilocks zone where like if it's too high, then like most companies want to like stuff their money into like tax havens. But if it's too low, like they'll just like pocket it all and like hoard it. But there's like a nice like like again, I don't know if you know what a Laffer curve is, but like yeah, it's like a theoretical graph about like taxation percent versus like how much money you're actually getting. So yeah, like like if the tax rate is high enough to encourage reinvestment, while growing value in the business.
There's a lot of stuff that I am unsure about, but I'm almost positive that if you cut $1 off of a corporation, that they are definitely going to still pocket that $1.
I mean, if
we're talking about multinational corporations, man, we're talking about corporations that their whole point is profit, right? They're not going to reinvest anything. Actually, the Supreme Court has ruled in the past that even if CEOs want to reinvest those things, that money has to go back into the stockholders, into the people that actually help fund the corporation or the business.
I don't even know how to respond. So I don't know if you understand that like a corporate tax rate of like 28 to like 32% ish will like generally push corporations into like writing off business expenses. And like reinvesting in the company because that will increase their stock price because it'll increase their valuation, which is well, sure. That's why you don't want it like something crazy like 38% or whatever, because then yeah, you're just gonna send everyone to fucking Ireland.
It'll be more like China, but yeah.
What do you mean more like China? Who the fuck is?
It'd be more like it wouldn't really be Ireland, right? They don't really build. So
are you out of your fucking mind?
Really
do you understand that like half of Ireland's GDP is like international corporations who are like stationed there, like because of their like crazy low 15% corporate tax rate? Literally, even Apple has like transferred all of their intellectual property to their corporation headquartered in Ireland, like like to avoid like bro, you're so uninformed.
So Apple is building their phones in Ireland?
That's not okay. Do you understand the difference between manufacturing and intellectual property rights?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I get that. Yeah.
Cool. So when I said that, real quick. So when I said that Apple had transferred a lot of their intellectual property rights to their corporation headquartered in Ireland to dodge like corporate tax rates, did you think that I meant manufacturing instead of intellectual property rights?
Yeah, I don't understand.
Yeah, you did.
What that has to really do with jobs, though.
Okay, you understand that like where Apple designs their phones is different than where Apple like manufactures their phones. You understand that those are like like probably two different sections of Apple, right?
Well, neither of those places are in the United States, and that's the problem.
Well, I mean, their intellectual property rights are in Ireland, but Apple is headquartered in the U.S. They are on the stock exchange. Like, you can go and like buy shares in them. So I don't know what you mean by that.
Do you like watching Destiny?
I met him in real life. I have his autograph.
Yeah, makes sense. You got a Cuck's autograph?
Yeah, I mean, he's famous-ish. Look,
and
you know about him.
Wall?
No.
And it's up on your wall? Sorry, it's up on your desk?
Yeah, it's on my tower with a bunch of other random knickknacks.
Well, Darko, I have to say that I really enjoyed hearing you say that you hate communism. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah,
we can all agree against that.
I'm about to go full red just to spite this entire conversation.
What?
I'm about to go full red just to spite this entire conversation. I mean, I would potentially take communism over neoliberalism. At least they had some form of a masculine society in the Soviet Union.
Flipping that.
You can clip it. Go for it. Fuck it. We ball.
What? Okay, I don't know how you made this jump from like economic system to like a culture thing. Like
You're
is
making the
communism?
jump because you're arguing
You
for
made the jump.
neo-corporatism.
Yeah, you're.
Well, no, you said I
corporatocracy,
would prefer
but-
communism to neoliberalism because all the neoliberalists are trying to trans the kids or whatever the fuck. All right, I don't remember word for word.
It wasn't transit kid. I said
You're making the hyper-capitalist.
Oh, sorry, the
argument right
masculine.
now.
Why are
thing.
you? Why are you acting like me jumping the goalpost? Like you haven't been jumping the goalpost like 20 times in the last like 20 minutes.
I don't know what jumping the goalpost means.
Can we jump back to the border security thing? I want to show you something, Darko. This is Biden's 9th executive order that he signed on day 1, revoking the Trump administration efforts to exclude undocumented or revoking the Trump administration's efforts to exclude undocumented immigration from the U.S. Census, a change that would have weakened federal representation for diverse areas generally represented by Democrats. The biggest one I want you to look at is this right here. Biden revoked a Trump executive order that massively expanded immigration officials' interior enforcement work and broadened the categories of who they should try to detain and deport. That put a serious wrench in the processing.
I mean, did it?
And it created a greater incentive for people to come here.
Can you show me a graph?
The construction.
Can you show me a graph of like, I don't know, like how many people were, like how many illegals were estimated to come in, like, in 2020 or 2019 versus like 2020 or 2021? I guess
I can
Biden
find
took
one.
over. For sure. I mean, or you're saying it's directly leading to it, and I want to know why. Like, or I guess like why do you think? Or I mean, like, are we just doing the common sense appeal and saying that like, well, obviously, like this was bad. Like this was working.
The why is in the first one I read to you. Okay. Revoking the Trump administration efforts to exclude undocumented immigration from the U.S. Census, a change that would have weakened federal representation for diverse areas generally represented by Democrats. Because the more people they are able to include on the census, the more seats they're allowed to have in Congress, and the higher value in the Electoral College for these sanctuary cities.
Yeah, I don't think
the why.
I don't think that illegal immigrants are like meaningfully tipping, like the number of electoral votes or seats in the House of Reps that states are getting.
Well, drops of water coming into a boat aren't necessarily going to sink it until a certain point, which is why you bail the water out of the boat when it starts coming in, because it's not supposed to be there. So this right here represents the hole in the boat because he stopped the construction.
Yeah, and that has
he also
something to do with asylum.
He also weakened Trump's executive order, which massively expanded immigration officials' interior enforcement work. And the reason why is because the more that come in, the more people are there to be represented by the Democrats in these sanctuary cities. And it increases the numbers in the Electoral College, and it increases the seats that they have in Congress.
Okay, so like states like Texas and Florida and Arizona and all those southern border states that all were very blue this election are being flooded with illegal immigrants that are disproportionately giving Democrats representation when they got stomped so hard that like it kind of makes it look like maybe we did steal the election in 2020. Like you're saying that like this worked so well and we're doing this. Okay, I mean that's a theory for sure.
Are there Are there sanctuary cities in Texas?
Um, so you know what a sanctuary city is, right?
No, please teach me.
Is Snowman still here? Did he bounce out?
Oh, yeah. No man, is not here anymore.
He's not here.
Oh damn. Okay.
Wait. Are you actually running the stream, Cyber?
His placeholder is here.
Oh, okay. That just popped up.
That's wild. Snowman cannot chill, can he?
Oh, what's the name of the?
But yes, I know what sanctuary cities are, and I know what they're meant for, and it's not what they claim.
Okay, so you know what they're
They're
supposed to
playing
be, but
games
they're
with
definitely not
people.
that.
I know what they claim, what they're claimed to be.
I guess, like,
But
just so
that's
we
not
can
what
have
they
a
are.
working definition, like, can you explain what you mean when you say sanctuary cities?
Yes, I can.
I would appreciate that if you don't mind. No is always okay. I didn't mean that to sound sarcastic.
Well, I didn't either. I absolutely can explain them. You're not gonna like it, so I'm not gonna do it.
Okay. I guess so. When I hear sanctuary cities, I'm thinking of like cities that aren't complying with the federal government's rules about immigration and stuff. So I guess when you're reading me off a bunch of executive orders and bringing up sanctuary cities, I'm like, well, sanctuary cities didn't give a fuck to begin with, and like, so I don't think any executive orders being in place or not in place really matter to people who are like, fuck what the federal government says. I'm a state and I have states' rights.
Well, how many sanctuary cities are on the border?
I don't know. I don't know how many sanctuary cities there are.
That would be relevant. In the context that you're using,
Or what do you mean?
that would be relevant.
What do you mean? I mean, if like Detroit declared itself a sanctuary city, like maybe everyone would just move north. Like I don't know why.
Well, a lot of people would have to sneak into Canada if they were going to sneak into America through Canada.
Well, no, they could just sneak in like through
Right.
Mexico and then run north. Have you ever heard of the Underground Railroad? Like people have been doing this shit for years, dog.
Yeah.
So yeah,
There are
like
tunnels
New
going
York
from
is the sanctuary city, and so yeah, I mean, if you're a Mexican, you can just get to New York and find a job.
there are tunnels going from a town that's just on the other side of the border and coming out to a town that is, I'd say maybe about 60, 70 miles from where I live.
Okay. And like, what percentage of illegal immigrants are coming through like avenues like that?
Through the tunnels,
Yeah.
not too many people.
I mean,
They're
but like
usually
what
smuggling contraband.
percentage?
Percentage?
Yeah.
Maybe about 0.05 when you're talking about people.
I mean, like not like that specific tunnel, but like like all the tunnels that exist. Sorry if I was
I don't
unclear.
know how many tunnels exist.
I guess
so I
like do
couldn't
you
answer
think
that.
most of them are coming through tunnels or like hopping the gate or sorry, I'm not trying to hold you to like a specific number, but like more or less than 50%.
There are certainly not more people coming through the tunnels. Certainly not.
And from like expired visas and like asylum seeking.
I'd say there are a majority, maybe. I mean, I couldn't really give you a percentage accurately without looking it up, but are probably a majority of people that come claiming that they're seeking asylum, and they get a court date and skip it, like what you were talking about.
Or I guess all right, maybe this is a
The
fundamental.
tunnels are mostly used for smuggling, whether that be smuggling kids for nefarious purposes or for smuggling drugs
Like ketamine.
or a whole bunch of things that they cannot afford to get caught with while hopping the fence, and they certainly can't cross the border with it and go through any kind of customs with it, right? Especially under Trump, because they were getting DNA swabs when they would come over with kids to make sure that the adults that were coming with them were actually related to them.
That's also stupid. Sorry.
It's awful that they were getting DNA swabs.
No, it's a waste of money. Like, I mean, like how many cases did that turn out to, like, be like, oh, actually, you're not related? I feel like probably like 90-something% of the time, like, we just like tested them and we're like, okay, well, you're related.
Okay.
So go ahead.
How much value do you put on the innocence of a child? $100,000?
I
$200,000?
don't know what that means.
That means if they spend $500,000 and only save one child from being trafficked into something that they can't even consent to, that it's well worth it. That's what that means.
I mean, I guess, like, is there an upper bound on this for you?
How much does a DNA swab? How much does that cost to get one and to process it and get the results?
like $100 ish.
Bumpkin, are you here? It looked
I'm
like your
here,
screen's
yeah.
frozen. Oh, you
I'm
were
here.
just watching you were watching a screen?
No, I was looking up previous elections.
I thought you were frozen, man.
No, I was looking at other previous
You didn't
elections.
move a muscle.
Yeah, I was concentrating. It kind of sucks that they don't really show like voting trends for previous elections.
Oh,
So I was trying
actually.
to go for an election prior to the 1965 Immigration Act.
Oh, I mean, okay.
I think Darko's pretty tech savvy.
Yeah, I was trying to look it up, but there's really not much because they show like how many, each candidate received via votes altogether, but they don't really show like, like we kind of do now, like break down between each vote via race and all of that to really see that sort of stuff. They probably do that on purpose, honestly.
Well, no, I mean,
they probably do that on purpose.
I mean, exit poll. I mean, you could probably find like exit polling for that stuff, but it's just probably not on the internet.
1952.
Yeah, 1952 voting.
Exactly. It's not something that we can really.
Polls. Okay, that's it. When did U.S. start doing exit polls?
Maybe I should pick something besides that one because that was like a Republican sweep.
Yeah, weird how all the immigrants came in
Democrat
and voted
was
Republican.
No, that was 1952. That was prior to the 1965 Immigration Act.
Weird. But the Republicans supported one that didn't work how they thought it would.
Huh?
It's not the dot. Or do you happen to know the name of that act?
The 1965 Immigration Act. 1 second. Let me look up the actual name of it. Yeah, no. I don't deny. Like, I'm not really a Republican. I don't deny the fact that the Republicans kind of were pretty pro-immigration. Let me look it up. By the way, your screen is frozen.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
So Darko, do you play chess?